Good afternoon, TRTA members and friends from around the country. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is TRTA Live. It's our Friday afternoon recap of what's been going on this week. And certainly we've been trying to follow all of the items happening on the federal level as well as on our state level. Roy, do I have a thumbs up? Everything's good on our side? All right, perfect. I want to welcome back Roy. He is, many of you know, our producer on the other end. He's following comments and making sure that we keep an eye on what's happening. And so if you are watching the show and want to drop a comment in either on Facebook or YouTube, please go ahead and do that. If it's all right, today I'm just going to begin by saying thank you so much to all of the TRTA members and our supporters and friends from around the country who have sent emails to me about the two big issues that we really are following on the Social Security implementation. And that has been so helpful. So the first thing I wanted to say on that is that I really don't like form letters. And I am trying to keep up with the replies so that we did actually get your email. In fact, I have, not only am I trying to do that, but my colleague Brock Gregg, who works with us at TRTA, he's one of our associate directors. He's also following this. So last week I gave out two email addresses. The first one is tim@trta.org. That's my email address. But I also gave out info @trta.org. So you have three ways of trying to communicate with us about some of the concerns that you have. You can make those posts and those comments on YouTube or Facebook while we are doing this live show. If you would rather not let everybody else see what your question is, you can email them to tim@trta.org as well as info@trta.org. We have a lot of, we're a large organization. We send out a lot of emails, which means that we also get targeted by groups that want to do nefarious things with sending us emails and trying to break into our servers. So we have a pretty high firewall. So that's why I'm giving you the two email addresses. If you sent me an email and I have not replied to it, forgive me. I very, very likely do have it. I've been combing through those all weekend long. I've gotten several hundred of questions about the Medicare reimbursement, as well as a whole bunch about the retroactive payment for folks that are just now filing for spousal or widow benefit, even though they may have been eligible for it prior to January 1st, 2024. And we also have made a very solid connection. I doubt they're watching right now, but we've got some contacts in John Cornyn's office and a friend of mine who is also helping with this in making sure that John Cornyn, our senator here in Texas, is aware of what's going on. I expect to hear from Senator Cornyn sometime over the next few days. Been in touch with his staff. We've been keeping up to date on these issues, still coordinating with Senator Collins in Maine and reaching out to Bill Cassidy in Louisiana. So if you're watching this from Louisiana, or if you're in Maine or Massachusetts, say hi to my friend Sean Duhamel, who's also watching this broadcast. We really are trying to raise the awareness with our senators that many public worker retirees were told that when they were first eligible for the widow benefit, many times it was the widow benefit. Their spouse had passed away. They'd gone to the Social Security office, and they were, sort of advised not to fill out that form because of the GPO. And we're trying to see if we can clarify the date of eligibility. Right now, it seems clear that according to the Social Security policy, they are basing eligibility on when the application was first filed. Unfortunately, that means that many people who may have become eligible for a spousal benefit prior to January 1st of 2024, they may not file until they actually are able to get through to the Social Security Administration and file that form. And we think that that will be, very unfortunate if there's not some clarification. Again, I'm not saying that Social Security Administration is doing anything wrong here. As a matter of fact, they're probably following the protocols that they have in place. Unfortunately, though, it could mean a big difference on what those Social Security reimbursements are going to be, especially if there was kind of a suggestion or an implication or even just a misunderstanding that what somebody may have been told at that local office all of those years ago that they should not fill out the form because the GPO would just eliminate the benefit. Again, how would any of us know that that would become such an important filing that would have made such a big difference? And so we're still pushing on that issue. I am enthusiastic about some, I'm hopeful, maybe that's a better word. I'm hopeful that we'll find some resolution on this, especially since we have the attention of so many of our elected officials. So please stay tuned on that. We also have, as I said, registered a whole bunch of folks, several hundred emails that I have with people talking about the Medicare reimbursement, the collection of that Medicare reimbursement. One of the retirees that I mentioned on this particular issue last week has communicated back to me that they did connect with the Social Security Administration. They confirmed some information about how that premium had already been collected and that it was likely to be reimbursed within the next 45 days. So what I'm doing with all of your communications to me is that I am putting them in sort of an informational overview for the decision makers, as well as when I say decision makers, there are two types of decision makers. There are the policy makers, which are the elected officials in the Senate and the U.S. Congress. So that's one path that we're pushing. And then there's the other path of decision makers, which are sort of the administrative oversight, the folks that are in charge of this implementation process for the Social Security Administration. They are working so hard every day to address this. I'm going to give you a kind of an analysis here of how hard they've been working, because I think it's going to demonstrate very clearly, that a lot of progress is being made on this particular issue. So if you're still concerned about those Medicare reimbursements, if you've received your letter, because this week more and more people are starting to receive the letter that is talking about the Social Security reimbursement, the retroactive payment that would have been dated back to January 1st of 2024, or whenever that eligibility may have become available for you. Those statements are starting to kind of answer some questions, but also starting to show us whether or not your situation is one where you're going to have to contact the Social Security Administration and tell them, I've already paid my premiums. I'd like to make sure that I'm going to get my reimbursement. Based on some of the information that I've had, it does look like the Social Security is aware of this. And I want to find the comment that I have on that particularly. Let me switch over to this other screen, and it's there's on the Social Security webpage, they talk about if a person prepaid their Medicare premium and premiums are now being deducted from their Social Security, how do they request a refund? And on their answer page, it says that we offer some information that is stated on our website. This is the official SSA website. We can put it in the comments so that you all have it. It says if the person prepaid their premiums to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services and Social Security Administration tells them that their premiums will now be deducted from their monthly Social Security benefits, they will receive any applicable refund. Social Security Administration's notice will include this information. I have seen some notices from folks where it may include it, but it may not. So it's something to keep an eye on. And it says in most cases, the premium refund will be included in the back payment from the Social Security Administration. And if not, the refund will be issued at the end of the calendar quarter. If you do not receive a premium refund within 6 weeks of the close of the calendar quarter, please contact the Social Security Administration. So for us and where we stand today, we have a lot of folks that have sent us their questions. As I said, I am chronicling those and putting them into an overview for our elected officials. And I really am grateful that I think because of the support that we have with folks watching this every Friday, that our friends at the Social Security Administration have really started to provide more information, and I appreciate their outreach to me personally as we try to answer member questions. So if you sent in something last week, you sent it in on Friday afternoon or Saturday or Sunday or sometime this week, and I have not yet replied, please forgive me. Just know that we have that. You can certainly ping me again if you want, tim@trta.org or info@trta.org. And it can be about any question that you have about this implementation, but particularly our retirees who are asking about Medicare reimbursement for the previous year, as well as the retroactive payment. We have had some pretty interesting questions and things that we've sent on to the Social Security Administration. I had a retiree contact me this week and say that she had a spouse who was a TRS retiree, had done 15 or 16 years under TRS, and also had a long career in the private sector, but his benefit was offset because of the windfall. He is now deceased, and he was deceased prior to January 1 of 2024. And someone at SSA had communicated that his benefit that was WEPed and passed on as a survivor benefit was not going to be recalculated. And that seemed like a different twist on things, but our belief was that it should have been. So we've now tried to work that issue out with Social Security Administration. So there are just a lot of issues that are going on. But let's talk about some of the good news very quickly. Roy, hit the SSA page on the link with the states, if you have that one, the one that will show the states reimbursements as of today. All right, he's pulling that up, everyone. And so when you look at this information, you can really see the total number of folks that have received some kind of retroactive payment. And of course, the Social Security Administration is still pushing these on. So if you look at Texas, over 252,000, almost 253,000 folks have now received a retroactive payment from the Social Security Administration totaling $1.727 billion. In the Texas legislature, we often talk about the economic impact that our state pension fund has in the state of Texas, how many jobs it creates, how much taxable revenue. Look at the amazing job that all of the advocates have done for these state economies, where tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of public worker retirees are starting to receive these benefit increases. So if you look at Texas, and then let's kind of scroll up, Roy, to California. That was a state that, we always talk about how Texas and California had more people impacted. So California has 316,000 folks that have now received an increase in their retirement benefits totaling $2.1 billion, and still more that are being processed. And for those of you that are, really, let's see, Ohio, let's see if we can, I can't see Ohio because I got my camera in front of me, but some of these states that really champion with us, Ohio's 207,000, almost $1.5 billion. Again, what is this demonstrating to us? Number one, aren't we grateful to know that our Social Security Administration found a path to making these benefit payments and these retroactive payments now, as opposed to 12 to 18 months, as was originally projected. And so we're seeing, billions of dollars flowing to our retirees that for many, many years were suffering because of the GPO and the WEP. And this chart, I think, really demonstrates the impact that every state has felt about this. Now, the other thing that I'd point out is that a lot of times when we were talking about working to repeal WEP and GPO, we were saying that there were 14 states that were affected, and a lot of the audience that I have are TRTA members. But as many of you have also connected to me from other parts of the country, I've talked to firefighters and other public workers, and the reality is that every state had someone who was affected by the WEP or the GPO. And so even when you see some of the states where they may have fewer numbers, you're still talking about tens of millions of dollars that are benefiting these public workers that otherwise would have lost this. I mean, um, this is truly a staggering picture of improvement for our public worker retirees around the country. So the other interesting part of this is that they not only have provided this by state, but they have also provided this information by zip code. And this is all, publicly available. You can take a look at this information. My zip code is 78620. So Roy, scroll down if you can to 78620. It might take a second to get there, but once we get there, you'll see that there were several thousand people, in this zip code. It's not a huge zip code here in Texas. We're just outside of the Austin, Texas area, almost there. But you can see, in all of these zip codes, how many hundreds. Now, 786 is almost 300 people that have benefited in retroactive payments for almost $2 million in payments that have come into this one zip code. Think about the retirees' lives that have changed because of these dollars that are flowing in. Now, clearly, you've got some of these other zip codes that will have more people. Here in Texas, we have some school districts that have their benefits fully coordinated with the Social Security system. And so if you serve your entire career working at Austin Independent School District, you probably wouldn't see the same effect as if you worked for my town is called Dripping Springs. So if you worked your entire career there and you also had 2 or 3 other jobs, well, yeah, you're going to have a bigger impact. But if you dig through this list, and I would encourage our public worker advocates around the country, to take a look at this. We're going to be in a position in the next few years of making sure that as the Social Security system becomes something that is going to be a hotter topic, and how the Social Security Administration is going to continue its funding, we've got some excellent information right here that talks about the economic impact that these Social Security benefits have on state and local economies. And so it really is something that's interesting. If you all want to, post some of your zip codes, then maybe we'll take a check on other places in the Texas area. But you can download this information for yourself. We are going to use it in our legislative advocacy efforts that we do for Texas Retired Teachers Association. And I think that all of you around the country will also be able to use this information as something positive in communicating with your elected officials. So here's where we stand, I think, as of March 21st of 2025 at nearly 2:20 in the afternoon. We're seeing, Roy, you can probably take that list off now. We are seeing more and more of the retro payments that have gone out. That's great news. We are in regular communication with some friends that are working with the Social Security Administration and trying to ensure that the payments are going out are correct, that if there are questions, that those questions can be provided back to us. We also have been given a contact email for the Dallas regional office of the Social Security Administration. And instead of just putting that out there, I think what I'll do is we'll kind of continue to collate, some of these more advanced questions that we're getting, and then I will develop, that communication back and forth with the Dallas folks in the event that we may not be getting answers on some of these things. But if you're one of our members, or if you're watching this and saying, "Hey, I know I paid my Medicare premium," it looks like the Social Security Administration is aware of this. They're working with members. They are asking that you contact their office. Again, when I talk to the Social Security Administration, I get more of this of the promoting of the idea of calling the Washington D.C. number. And when I talk to our members, they express the idea of needing to have patience when you're making those phone calls. The answer that you get, probably need to record that, document it in just typing it up and saying, hey, this is the answer that I got on this date. And then typically, especially on the refund issue, it sounds like the administration, Social Security Administration, knows that there were some payments going on in the previous year. Maybe they took that out of the retro payment and they may have to do some kind of reimbursement. So I believe all of those pieces are lining up. I think the Social Security Administration's tuned into it. Certainly they are, because we've been communicating it. And your communication back to us, those emails that you're sending to me, it has allowed me to provide a very clear picture to the elected decision makers, again, particularly aligning that with the U.S. Senate. And I just want to again say that I'm very grateful to Senator Cornyn's office for helping with this. We intend to engage with Senator Cruz as well. My hope is that he will help us too. But right now, John Cornyn has definitely provided staff support in trying to determine the best path forward, looking at this information. And I expect to hear back from him over the weekend and try to get some new information. So we do not have the exact answer that we would like to have on the retroactive payment for people who are filing their widow or spousal benefit form today. We, TRTA, are working to get the actual date for when you became first eligible as the date for when that retro payment will be calculated. Based on what the Social Security Administration policies are right now, their guidelines say that the spousal benefit and widower benefit form is, when you file that form, is when they are basing that retro payment on. And so my hope is we'll be able to work through that. And I understand where they're coming from, because those are the rules that they have. When the GPO and the WEP fairness bill passed, Social Security fairness bill passed, there was not a lot of funding. I don't think there was any funding for implementation. There wasn't a lot of guideline for implementation. So some of these things are just going to have to work through that process. And so let's continue to send in your stories, send them to me, tim@trta.org, info@trta.org. And my hope is that many of you will be getting your retroactive payment and or have received it. You will start getting your email notice, or I'm sorry, not your email, but a mailed notice talking about how your retro payment was calculated and then what your payment is going to be going forward. Remember, the month of April is when the Social Security Administration has sort of suggested that the new payments are going to begin. And so we probably still have a few speed bumps, implementation bumps along the way as we go forward. But I have asked that we can maybe have some direct communication with the Social Security Administration. That's a possibility that we're working on. And I would love for our association to be able to have a more interactive conversation with the folks there. They're doing an amazing job. They really are. And if you think about how many millions of people have now received a payment, and again, that could have been 12 months into the future. It's been a tremendous job. So I appreciate that, and we're moving forward. So kind of summarize it. We're working through those speed bumps. Continue to send in your emails. A lot of people are waiting for the next phase of this, which is either getting a reimbursement for your Medicare premiums or seeing your new Social Security amount going forward. Now, I did also have a question from a member this last week asking if the Social Security is going to be indexed to inflationary increases going forward. The answer to that is yes. So as you start getting your new Social Security benefit, hopefully that's going to start in April, which will be for the month of March because they pay for the previous month. So as we go through the rest of this year and we get into that October timeframe, usually around then, as we kind of end of summer, beginning of the fall, the Social Security Administration looks at what inflation has been doing, and they determine what, if any, increase there may be going forward on those Social Security benefits that kicks in January of the next calendar year. So for those of us that are here in Texas who have a teacher retirement system benefit, We do not have any inflationary increases built into our retirement benefits. So I understand where that question is coming from. On the Social Security side, there is a possibility based on inflation and what the Social Security Administration is going to determine about any future COLAs for the Social Security benefit that you do receive. So all of this is good news. All of this is it's kind of a new world for us, but it's a welcome new world, and it's one that y'all worked real hard to get us here today. So that is my update on the Social Security stuff that's going on. And I know that a lot of you tune in from out of state. I don't listen. If you're tuning in from out of state, somebody said, "Hey, I'm not a member of TRTA. Can you help me?" Well, we're always going to try to help. I love our members. I'd love for you to be a member, but I've never built my career around the idea that we only help the people who, are our members. I want our service to always be beneficial to our public worker retirees. Clearly, we need membership to keep our organization alive and active and powerful and strong. So, if you're inclined to join, I'd love for you to be a member. But we're always going to try to help people. So that's just who we are. It's just who I am. So that's the way we do our business. So if you're out of state and you need help, or if you need to connect with somebody in another state, we have contacts all over the country. Happy to connect you with other folks in other states, or you can continue to watch us. We're gonna do our best to help all that we can. So that being said, we are officially open for business, I believe. Now, TRTA staff who are watching this may correct me, but if we're not open yet to start our membership renewals, we will be very soon. My hope is that everybody who's been a part of this organization, who's watched what we've been able to do over the last few years, will renew their dues, renew that enthusiasm, find some other folks. As I pointed out, 253,000 people just got over, how much was that again, Roy? I can't remember. It was a couple $100 million. That was more than that. I think it was $1 billion. I think it was 1 point something billion dollars. So please, if you are an active teacher or a TRS retiree and you're trying to determine whether or not it's worth the $35 a year to be a member of TRTA, my hope is that you'll look at what this organization has been able to do together with all of our members rowing in the same direction, working on this issue, just this one issue, and realize that that investment, that $35 investment in being a member of TRTA, and if you belong to a local chapter, it may be an extra $5, $10, $15 to be part of one of our over 240 local chapters we have around the state of Texas. My hope is that you'll see that's a worthwhile investment. There's still work to do, and that's kind of the transition that I'm going to make next. So we are in legislative session here in Texas. This coming week, we are having our large rally at the Texas Capitol. We call this our TRTA Day at the Capitol. We are also calling this our Day of Celebration. It's going to be a busy day. And I communicated this out as an email to a lot of the folks that are registered to come to our event. I shot a video earlier in the week that we'll be sending out to TRTA members over the next day or two, kind of talking about the things that we need to be prepared for on March 26th. The number one thing that I want to stress to all of you that are watching right now, please, if you're coming to the TRTA Day at the Capitol, we're trying to ensure that we can take over the galleries in the House and the Senate chamber. The House is going into session at 10 a.m. There will be thousands of people at the Capitol. We're expecting somewhere between 12 and 1,500 TRTA members that day. There is another very large association coming in. I love these folks. They're great. We office in a building close to them, but it's the Texas Realtors Association. They bring a big crowd. May not be as big as us, but they bring a big crowd, and they're going to want to try to muscle in on those galleries to be recognized just like we want to. But I'm biased. I want our TRTA members to take over the gallery in the House and the Senate. And I want all of us to, in a nicest no way that I can say this, maybe, get a little decorum rule break when we hear our organization getting announced. It's always nice to hear a big roaring cheer for the Texas Retired Teachers Association. They usually tell us that we have to calm down after one of those, but I'm telling y'all, there's nothing like bringing in a thousand retired school employees and taking over the House and the Senate galleries, and the chair of the chamber saying, "Oh, we're welcoming our retired teachers today," and then all of a sudden you hear a massive roaring cheer for our organization and our membership. So I really hope that those of you that are coming can appreciate the magnitude of the people that are going to show up at the Capitol that day and will be looking to get into the gallery. Um, Please show up early. Plan on whatever visits you have prior to the start of the session, that you will have those done as close to 9 a.m. as possible so that you can be in line or in a seat in the Texas House Gallery by 10 a.m. And if you cannot make that show, then on the other side of the building, we have the Texas Senate, and we want to take over that gallery as well. So, more than enough of our retirees are going to show up that day. I encourage all of you I feel like I work for the TSA and telling people to show up on time for their airplane. So be in line or in the gallery an hour before the start of the session. In the House, they're going to start at 10 a.m. In the Senate, they're going to start at 11 a.m. Be there. Be there, because we want to have all of the folks lined around the gallery. And those of you that have been there before, you know what that's like. So let's take over those galleries. There are going to be some resolutions that are going to be presented, congratulating the Retired Teachers Association for all of the great work that they're doing. And there is still a lot of session left to go. It's the end of March. We still have work-intensive months of April. The Texas Senate is going to be talking about the budget the day before we show up. And so there's going to be a lot of that conversation. There's still work that can be done this session on benefit enhancements for retirees, as well as making sure that our teacher retirement system is funded no matter what other legislation they pass. We do not want to see our Texas TRS unfunded liabilities go up if the legislature is dealing with other matters that may be connected to TRS. We want to make sure that our TRS is adequately funded. We have to find a path to making sure that retirees receive, needed benefit enhancements. Most of our retirees are still 30% behind inflation in this state. Many of our retirees are still making less than $1,500 a month on their retirement benefits. They just now started getting some of their Social Security benefits back. So it's still kind of a rocky path for a lot of our school employee retirees here in Texas. And the work goes on. I mean, that's what we do in this organization, is we work to find new ways to improve the retirement security, knowing that nothing is costing anything less. And if we don't have a legislature that ensures that our pension system is actuarially sound and also provides the dollars necessary for benefit enhancements, those things just don't happen. So that's our mission. I really hope that you will also remember that the budget that the legislature is working on in both the House and the Senate has fully funded our health insurance program here in the state. So it's great when you can show up at a legislator's office and tell them thank you for funding our health insurance program. Thank you for doing that. Let's stay focused on keeping our pension system funded. And if there's a path to getting retirees some fiscal and financial help this session, let's seize that moment. Let's do that. And so it's going to be a great day. There's going to be a lot of exciting activities going on. My hope is that I'll be able to come out to the audience and speak to everybody and talk about all of the great victories that we've done. I am very excited to see everyone. As I said last time on this call, we have had major increases that were done in the previous legislative session. We won, the most votes on Prop 9 in that process, which is the bill that, or the proposition that allow retirees to receive their cost of living adjustment. We also saw a legislature that directed the teacher retirement system to use some of the money that was part of our healthcare fund to lower premiums for our retirees. That should not be forgotten. It should be told to our elected officials, hey, thanks for doing that. Both the Senate and the House leadership worked on that during a summer when we were not in session. So it took their leadership to get that to occur, and your premiums are lower because of it. And all the while, TRTA has been a part of those conversations with those elected officials. They are very good about making TRS a priority. So let's come into this session. Let us celebrate the work that you are doing. Let's stay connected to what is still going to happen during this legislative session. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. Y'all are a great organization. You're a great group. Let's get our folks excited about renewing their dues. I can't wait to see you. So not the longest update, because I think there's still some information that is pending for our retirees on several of these items with Social Security, as well as with our funding issues here in the state legislature that are being discussed. It'll be a good update next week. We'll have kind of an overview of our day at the Capitol. My hope is that we might have some new news from the Social Security Administration. Look forward to work with those folks a little closer. And I'd really like to think that maybe we can invite John Cornyn to come and be a part of one of our live afternoon sessions and talk to us about, how he might be able to help Texas retirees, public worker retirees, and others around the country get a better benefit on their retroactive payments. So lots more to come. Y'all have a great week. If you're an active teacher going back after a spring break, I hope you enjoyed the time off. Certainly my wife, who is a teacher here in Dripping Springs, has. And so thank you so much for your public work, your service to our schools, to our firefighters, police officers, and other public workers. Thank you so much for what you do. Look forward to seeing you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.